Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live question and answer session of Australia Immigration Matters. We will wait for a while before everyone joins, and then we will start taking up your questions. So today our focus of question and answer session would be more towards the new migration strategy, which was released by Australian Department of Home Affairs a few weeks ago, and we also shared a video about the basic changes which happened with respect to mainly the changes are happening with respect to the international students and graduate visa categories. So we also covered some of the changes in our earlier videos, but we will be taking questions with respect to either it is about the international students visas or it is about the post graduate visas, post study work visas, or limitations with respect to temporary graduate visas. And also we will be talking about the skilled migration program, which is a points test system. So I believe that you guys would be ready with the questions with respect to these subjects, as these are hot topics these days with respect to Australian migration. And obviously, we are also keeping you updated in our group, which is as active as we are. So we are hoping to have an excited session today with you guys. So let's get started. We will be waiting for the questions. And meanwhile, I would start covering up the action plan of migration strategy. So when we talk about the migration strategies action plan, which is released by Department of Home Affairs, they have talked about the main issue of permanent temporariness. They don't want the migrants to be in Australia on a temporary basis. So if a student is coming to Australia for higher education, the student should complete the studies, and after completing the studies, the student should be start working in the labor market of Australia for a period of like 2 or 3 years after the graduation, and the work skill level should match the skill level of the degree the student has attained. And after completing that training period or after gaining the work experience from Australian labor market, the student should start contributing towards the real economy, the where actually the industry and the businesses and the employers are struggling to find the resources. So that's why Australia is actually looking for to make all these changes in a way that it becomes a more useful migration program rather than just bringing people onshore. And if they are not contributing towards the economy of Australia, then it's a problem for them. And that is the core reason, that is the root cause of all this Australian migration system overhaul. So we will be talking about this today in detail, and we have been talking about this on our YouTube channel already, also in our Facebook group. So let's see if there are any questions. Okay. So questions have started coming in. I will be taking the questions one by one. So let's get started with the first one. So Farid Khan is asking, is there any way to get your consultation? Yes, Farid, we have a way, and you can connect with us through our email. And what I would suggest you is to send, just ask this question in our group, and we will give you the contact email address that is the way to ask for the session, ask for the consultation session. So just post this question in the group and we will give you the contact details. Next question is about the from Munib Ahmed, that my question is, what are the chances and options for chartered accountants to move to Australia? So Munib, the question is, I think this has been asked in the Facebook group as well. And we have seen recently that the chartered accountants and the other external auditors and internal auditors and other accountant occupations have been invited by Victoria as well in the recent round. Obviously, they are prioritizing the onshore applicants as compared to offshore applicants when it comes to the accountancy occupations. But there are chances because it's still there are like half of the year rounds are still balanced, and in that half year rounds there are chances that either Victoria or NSW will be inviting at least accountant general, or I can say management accountant as well. I'm not sure about the auditors, but accountant generals and management accountants have good chances if they have points more than 90, if they have more than 90 points of expression of interest for 190 category. So that's a possible move for chartered accountants for Australia. The next question is from Aaron. Aaron is asking that there is a lot of ambiguity in relation to potential increase of state allocations for second half of the fiscal year, and is this still on the table in view of this refresh strategy? So, Aaron, one thing you need to understand very clearly that the new migration strategy has nothing to do with their migration planning levels. Although they have announced in their press conference that they are going to slower down the migration in coming years for a while until the housing crisis and the other inflation issues are settled down. So the current year's planning levels are not going to be changed. The planning levels indicate the number of visas they are going to issue for the permanent visas they are going to issue to the applicants and also their families. So the current planning levels are going to be same for the rest of the year, but they will keep on continuing consuming the existing allocations which states and territories have and the federal have. So in this regard, the chances of increase in allocations in second half of the year are very low. And I also have emphasized about this in our group that there is no ambiguity about this. I am not sure that there would be an increase in the allocations of state and territories, but one thing is sure that federal government has only conducted one invitation round for the subclass 189, and I think there would be more rounds of 189 because they haven't used their allocations quota yet. Even I think that it's not even used by 10%. So there are chances that there would be more rounds, but there are very less chances of increase in allocations quota for the current financial year. So let's talk about the next question. The next question is from Prasant Reddy, and he's asking any chances of processing times being improved for 190. Yes. So recently, in the same new migration strategy, Department of Home Affairs has clearly indicated that they are investing in their digital IT systems, and they are also investing in their people's training, in their department's integrity, and also they are hiring new employees in their visa office system. So currently they all know that the visa processing time is a big problem for the migrants, so they are working on it. And as per my analysis, the visa processing times are going to be improved in coming months. And specifically for 491, I believe that the improvement will be faster as compared to the 189 or 190. So I think that 190's visa processing time will be improved, and it come down to 8 to 10 months in coming months. And we will keep on posting about this on our YouTube channel as well on our Facebook group, that how the trend is reflecting for the visa processing times of the different subclasses. So let's talk about the next question. So next question is about the so next question is that my husband is IT specialist and I am pharmacist, and on my behalf he can get 10 marks. um, applied for 491 in March. Any idea how long it would take to get the grant? So I think so. The first question is about the occupations, that the partners have different occupations and whether they can contribute skills assessment points to each other. So there is a rule about this, and we have posted it in our Facebook group, that how the partner skills point system work. So number one thing is that you need to see the skill occupation list in which you are applying, and then you need to see the skill occupation list in which your partner's skill assessment, or in which your in which list your partner's occupation is lying. So if your occupation list and your partner's occupation list are in the same list, for example MLT SSL, we are talking about MLT SSL, the medium to long term list, then you both are eligible for all types of visa subclasses. But if your partner's occupation list is in short term skill occupation list STSOL, then you can get those 5 points contribution only for the state and territory nominated subclasses. And when we talk about the third occupation list, which is the regional occupation list ROL, then you will only get five those 5 points based on the 491 visa. So this is how it's categorized. So if the occupation lists are same, which is highest, which is the most common one, MLT SSL, then 5 points will definitely be contributed. And you can check it from the Department of Home Affairs website, that whether your occupation as a pharmacist and your occupation as a IT specialist, the exact occupations are in the same list or not, and how it can contribute. So if someone has applied for a 491 subclass visa in the month of March, then as per current timelines, it's taking around 12 months for non-priority occupations. Now it depends upon the occupation. I have seen such cases where an occupation was a high priority one. For example, a registered nurse is getting a 491 visa in even in 1 month of applying. So the average is indicating for the non-priority occupations, which is for the 90% of the cases, as they say. But the important thing is that for 491, they are going to improve their processing times. That's for sure, and that's clearly indicated in their press conference when they release the new migration strategy. So you should be hopeful of getting the 491 for your 491 in the month of February or March, like in 3 months' time, because there is Christmas break, so there will be a delay of like 2 weeks. You can add that up as well. So next question is from Ashraf Ali. Ashraf Ali is asking, what are the different streams concerning 491? How to apply for those streams, being an offshore applicant? So, Ashraf, there are two streams for 491. One is skilled state sponsored stream, and the other is family sponsored stream. It's that simple. Both streams are contributing 15 points to your EOI as part of your 491 application or EOI. So, if a state is sponsoring you, based on the selection criteria of the state, as per their state skilled occupation list and as per their demand, then you will get those 15 points nomination approval. And if a family eligible relative is sponsoring you, and based on the approval from the concerned state of that eligible relative based on the application, then you will again be getting the 15 points from that eligible relative. The next steps are same. The first step is either it is the 15 points or sponsorship is coming from state, or the sponsorship is coming from the eligible relative. So there are only two streams of subclass 491, which is a provisional visa, regional sponsored, for which you can apply as an offshore applicant. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Mark. So Mark is asking about the chances for 80 points civil engineering technician possible for 189 round next year. So, Mark, your occupation is obviously a good one because civil engineering technicians are being invited, and we have seen this occupation in recent invitation rounds. And you have got 80 points for subclass 189, which are also a good prospect. So the chances are good, and I always suggest our group members that you should evaluate your chances yourself as well. You can ask us, that's not a problem, but it's always good to evaluate and assess your chances by using the Skill Select EOI dashboard. And Skill Select EOI dashboard is very easy to understand and very easy to operate. If you are finding it difficult, you can easily follow the instructions which we have given in our earlier YouTube video, which you can find easily in our YouTube videos library, that how to use the EOI skill select dashboard data and how to interpret that. So chances for you are good, but obviously you will have to identify the competition of your occupation with respect to the points you have and the others which are lying above you. So that could be a good way to evaluate your chances. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Virendrajit Singh. Virendrajit Singh is asking about the chances for university lecturers. Virender, basically, a university lecturer is obviously a good occupation, and it was being invited in previous months, but we have seen in recent months that university lecturers are not being invited at lower points. So the chances are obviously there because it is part of a education sector, but obviously it's not directly that high priority teaching occupation. But you can consider it in a way that the university lecturers, the chances, good chances of university lecturers start at 85 or more points when we talk about the surplus 190. So if you have such points, you should be hopeful in the upcoming rounds for the state, or if your occupation is part of the 189, then in that case 189 as well. So let's take up the next question, which is from Ashraf Ali. And Ashraf Ali is asking that as WA, Western Australia, has almost consumed their quota, is it possible that after processing of already selected applicants, if they come up with any more slots, they would conduct another round? Ashraf Ali, Western Australia has always been doing like this. If you see their stats of last year, you will see that they had actually issued like three times of their quota. For example, if they had a 10,000 EOIs quota, they issued around 30,000 invites, pre-invites. And what the Western Australia does is they have a system of issuing invites through multiple streams. So they have a graduate stream which has two further classifications, and then they have a schedule two, and then they have a schedule one, which is like their general stream. So if an applicant is eligible for like three streams, they will issue the invite to through all streams to that one applicant. In that way, the applicant will only be using one invite, and the other two invites will be wasted. And in that way, a lot of Western Australia invites are not being used for further next steps. So there are high chances that there will be another round for Western Australia in the month of January or February, because I believe that currently they have actually consumed around 70 or 75% of their quota. This is my opinion. Obviously, there are no exact stats to identify that. So next, move forward to the next question, which is from Abhi Manjal. Abhi Manjal is asking, what are the chances of invitation under community worker in Victoria, and how many points are good? Abhimanyu, a community worker and social services and social workers, these are always good occupations to have. And in past, these occupations were being invited even at 75 points, at 70 points. But now, due to higher competition and less balance of the allocations quota, I believe that the good points to have to get an invite for a community worker in Victoria for 190 would be 85 or 90, because currently we have seen that Victoria has been inviting almost all of the occupations in different ways and as per their target sectors, but they are having smaller rounds as compared to big rounds. So I believe that the competition would be there in each round, but there are chances of community working in Victoria at 85 or more points. So good luck for that. Let's talk about the next question, which is from Lankika Marasinghe. Marasinghe, I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. The Lankika is asking, what are the chances of being invited for SC 190, subclass 190, civil engineer, with 85 marks for subclass 190 this year? If not possible, can I expect in next year? If not, do you think then that I should think for subclass 491? So civil engineers, when we talk about the civil engineers, I believe that the civil engineers have been invited more than like other engineering occupations because of the infrastructure sector or because of the building and construction industry of Australia in different states. So civil engineers with 85 points for 190 has a great prospect in my opinion, but it depends upon the state. So if we talk about an onshore applicant in Western Australia, then it's a very good prospect. And if we talk about New South Wales and Victoria, then obviously you will have a great competition also with 85 points. So excuse me. So try to improve your points by 5 if you can to beat the competition. Otherwise, there are good chances. And for And if you are not onshore, then you can obviously submit your EOIs for other states as well in which your occupation is eligible. For example, you can submit your EOI for New South Wales as 491 applicant as well, in addition to 190 as a separate EOI for higher chances. Now it's your decision to either you want to go for a 491 or not. So let's take up the next question. Next question is from Zahra CH. Zahra CH is asking, what about fresh IT graduates who are struggling here for field job, currently doing PY, professional year, should continue this field or need to switch it? Zara, the point is very clear that ICT occupations are really getting a good prospect in recent environments. I am not sure which exact occupation or which exact professional year program you have chosen for your training as part of your professional year. But obviously, it's going to help in two ways. Professional year will give you an onshore training and a certificate of professional year program, which can be used as an alternate to the 2 years requirement of ACS skills assessment for your occupation. And if you are having a professional year in a degree in a field of study which is relevant to an occupation which is a high potential occupation of an ICT industry, then you have a good chance. You do not need to change the field. That's my opinion. IT is already getting a good attraction in Australia by different states, and we have seen that software engineers, developer programmers, ICT security specialists, and ICT business analyst, computer network and systems engineers, these five occupations are getting invitations at 85 or more points. So it's all about your points. You shouldn't be worrying about the prospect of getting selected for an IT field, because ICT occupations are being invited in Australia, and obviously they are looking forward to the people who have good work experience in the field of ICT. And obviously, the to you are struggling in finding the a job in ICT field. You have to keep on trying, and once you have done your PY, you will have a better prospect. And good luck for that. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Inshan Hanifa. Inshan Hanifa is asking, what would be the processing time for 491? So, as I mentioned earlier, almost all of the skilled, independent, and state territory nominated visa subclasses, I'm talking about 189, 190, and 491, all have 12 months on average processing time right now, as per the recently published information by Department of Home Affairs. So currently for 491 also, the average processing time for 90% of the cases is 12 months, but obviously it depends upon your occupation. If you have a high priority occupation such as a healthcare occupation or an education occupation, then you can even get it in half of that 12 months, half time of that 12 months. So that's how it's working currently. So let's take up the next question, which is from Sandeep Podal. Sandeep Podal is asking, have to be in field of study? How about in Western Australia? Okay, I am not sure about your question, but I think I have perceived it in a way that you are asking that in Western Australia, whether you have to be in your field of study. So, when we talk about, there are two streams of Western Australia. In fact, there are three. One is graduate stream, but I'm talking about the general streams. So general stream schedule 1 and general stream schedule 2 has different rules. So in terms of rules, when we talk about the currently being employed for the applicant, and also about the experience for general stream, if your occupation is lying in a general Westmore schedule 1 stream, then you have to have at least 1 year of your nominated occupations experience. And if your occupation is lying in a general stream schedule 2, then you can even apply without having a 1 year experience related to your nominated occupation. But obviously for 190, you there is a rule of submitting an employment contract. So this is one thing. And you're talking about the field of study. Now it all depends that what field of study you want to choose. For Western Australia, they are very much focused towards the building and infrastructure sector. So you can see any field of study with respect to that industry. So let's take up the next question, which is from Aaron. Aaron is asking, these are hypotheses by some that 189 will make up the balance for low allocations given to the state. What is your opinion? And do you think grants for FY 22-23 invites will make up the balance? Okay, so Aaron, there are two things. One is allocations quota, and the other is planning levels. So when we talk about the migration planning levels, migration planning program levels, they indicate the number of permanent visas they are going to issue in this financial year. These permanent visas will include the invited applicants of previous year as well. So this is one thing about the planning levels. So let's talk about your other question, other hypothesis, where you are saying that 189 will make up the balance for lower allocations given to the states. So it's not going to happen like that. State and territories were given a 70% slashed allocations at the start of this year intentionally by the Department of Home Affairs, because this year they had already planned to make the changes, to make the overhaul for the migration strategy or for the migration system. They believe that they need to slow down a bit in this year to make those changes, because they cannot do both things in parallel, making the changes and keeping the pace same in terms of the migration system. So what they have done is they have lowered the state and territories nomination allocations while keeping the 189 allocations as it is at the same planning level. So I believe that they have done only one round of 189 as of now for this financial year, and there could be two more rounds of 189 where they might be using their at least its own quota. Let's hope that they use the own quota of 189 first, because as per the current situation, as per the current system speed and their intentions to change and overhaul the system, we are not sure though that whether they will be consuming the existing allocations quota of 189 or not. So let's hope that they use the existing allocations quota of 189, which I believe is like 30,000 as per the program planning level. So let's take up the next question from Muhammad Arif, and he's asking for 491 visa electrical engineer invitation chance with 465 points. So Muhammad Arif, 65 points are low. To be honest, you need to work on your points. We have seen people struggling even at 85 points for 491 for electrical engineering occupation. So you really need to work on your points. I hope that 65 points are not including state points, and if these 65 points are also including state points, then you really need to work on your on improving your points. So for electrical engineering occupation, the good chances for a subclass 491 visa start from you can say 90 or more points. So that's what I can give you my opinion. That's how I can give you my opinion. So let's talk about the next question. And the next question is from Abhimanjal. Abhimanjal is asking, can you please tell about the backlog in community worker field? So, Abhimanjal, basically the way to calculate or way to interpret or and extract the data of EOI backlog is very simple, and we have already recorded and shared a video about it, that how to do it in our YouTube library. So you can go to our YouTube library right now and watch that video where it's clearly showing that there is a step by step guidance that how you can extract and interpret the EOI skill select dashboard data for your occupation. It's very simple, and it's just a use of a few pages and a few filters through which you identify the exact analysis of your occupation's chances and your occupation's EOI backlog data. This can help you to assess the chances of your occupation and your profile in a way that you see the competition with respect to your points and with respect to the occupation's own demand. So you can do it yourself. Just go to the YouTube library of our channel and find that video and watch and follow the process step by step to extract the data yourself. So let's talk about the next question, and the next question is about the next question is from Subhaksha GC. And the question is, as per recently published notice, has the chance of offshore candidates decreased? Well, I will not say that it's decreased. I believe that there is no change with respect to skilled migration program. If you have read or if you have watched our videos and our announcements in the Facebook group, you will see that all major changes are coming up with respect to international students or the graduate visa holders. Uh, Basically, Australia is struggling with the permanently temporary visa holders. They don't want people to stay in Australia on a temporary visa for like a decade. They want either some of them should be converted into a skilled permanent residence visa, and then the people who are unable to find a possible pathway for a PR, then they should complete their education, then they should complete their onshore Australian experience, and then they should go back to their countries and try to improve their profile, and then try again as an offshore applicant through skilled migration program. Now, Australia is actually struggling with respect to its permanent temporary visa holders management by in with respect to their system. Now it's a big load. It's a big workload for them to keep on renewing and processing the applications which are coming from the temporary visa holders after every few months. So right now they are trying to mitigate this problem in a way that going to reduce the or shorten the post-study work visa duration, and also they are trying to scrutinize the student visa applications. Right now, for offshore candidates, I believe that the skilled migration program is there to stay. There is not going to be any change, but obviously they are going to prioritize onshore applicants in a way that they want to reduce the permanent temporary workers, temporary visa holders onshore, and then they obviously will focus towards the offshore candidates. That's for sure that the chances of offshore candidates, in my opinion, there are not much impact, or you can say a neutral impact with respect to the offshore candidates. So let's take up the next question, which is from Bipin Matthew. Bipin Matthew is asking, as per the new immigration policy, they are giving priority for regional areas. Is any chance for good processing time for 491 subclass? Yes, Bipin, as I mentioned earlier, that 491 subclass visa processing time might be improved in a further way. Might be improved faster as compared to other skilled migration. But you need to understand one thing is that as per the new migration policy, they are talking about a higher priority or a better visa processing times with respect to a regional visa. When we talk about the regional visa, it doesn't include only the 491 subclass. There are regional employer sponsored visas as well, and we are also talking about those visas. There are DAMA agreements as well. They are also trying to improve the visa processing times of such cases. So either it's an employer sponsored, either it's a state or territory nominated sponsored, either it's a locality sponsored or locality labor agreement. They are trying to improve the visa processing times of a regional area because they think that currently the regions are actually struggling. As per their new migration strategy, they have indicated that only 14% of the overseas migrants who come to Australia are actually living in the regions. Most of them, like around 60% of the migrants who came to Australia on a skilled visa, on a skilled work visa, any type of visa, are living in metropolitan cities, that is capital cities. So they are struggling, and their regions, the businesses in their regions are struggling. So obviously they are going to prioritize the different visa categories of regional areas. So that's going to work, Bipin. So let's take up the next question, which is from Umair Samad. Umair Samad is asking, after invite employer verification, I have questioned that I have production plant experience in different organizations with degree in mechanical engineering. Should I take mechanical engineering assessment or production engineering? Okay, Umair, your question is about the right choice of occupation. So I believe that you are trying to compare when we compare a mechanical engineering occupation with a production plant engineering occupation, both are almost of the same category. But in as per recent invitation round trend, we have seen that the mechanical engineering occupation is a slightly has slightly better preference as compared to production or plant engineering occupation. But obviously it depends upon your points. If you have like 90 points for your subclass 190, then even production or plant engineer has a good prospect. But if you are having a good point prospect and your points prospect are constant in both cases, then I would suggest you should go for mechanical engineering skills assessment from Engineers Australia. So that's my opinion. Obviously, you have to check your own profile that whether your experience is relevant enough for the positive skills assessment of mechanical engineering or not, because Engineers Australia will be assessing your employment documents while processing your skills assessment application with respect to you the chosen occupation. So you also need to check with respect to your profile. So let's move to the next question, which is from Manoj Kumar. So Manoj Kumar is asking about the question is, hello sir, I have worked for 3.5 years in Australia on a 457 visa. Now I am offshore and can I apply for a 186 direct stream, or do I need an employer sponsor and approval for that? So Manoj, this is a very simple thing that for a 186 visa, which is an employer nomination scheme visa. So you definitely need employer or sponsorship for that. Now you have worked in on a 457 visa. That's okay. Your experience or your onshore experience will be used if you have employment documents for that. But now you should try it. You have to find an employer sponsorship or employer nomination approval to apply for a 186 direct entry stream. Direct entry stream is possible with a 3 years past experience, but your employer has to nominate you for a employer nomination scheme 186 direct entry stream visa. That's not possible without an employer sponsor. It's not like an independent self nomination based skilled independent visa. This is an employer nomination scheme. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Himalatha is asking, what are the chances of software engineer with 90 NSW points? Do I have to take NATI for increasing 5 points? Will NATI matters to NSW? So if you already have got 90 points for a software engineering occupation for New South Wales state, and I believe it is for subclass 190, then you do not need to take NATI. But obviously, you can take NATI to even improve your points further by 5, and it can reach up to 95. And if you reach up to 95 for a software engineering occupation, and that could be that you can beat a little more competition as per the EOI data backlog. So NATI will give you 5 points, that's for sure. And if you can afford and if you have time for that, you should definitely go for it so that you can get a possible invite from now New South Wales earlier than the than if you have kept on waiting for on 90 points. So it's better if you can go for it, but still 90 points are good to have for a software engineering occupation with respect to the chances. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Umar Sadiq. Umar Sadiq is asking, what are the chances for software testers and what points are good for 491? Umar Sadiq, we have seen a software tester in a few rounds, but obviously it's a highly competitive occupation. And when you talk about a 491 subclass chances, then the good chances for a subclass 491 for software tester occupation start from 95 points, because this is not a high priority occupation of ICT industry or target sector, but still it has been invited recently. We have seen in Victoria that it has been invited, but you have to consider at least 95 points for a good prospect for this occupation. Next question is from Ashraf Ali, as an urban and regional planner, a target sector for Victoria. Well, it's not a direct target sector, but you can consider it as a target sector as part of the infrastructure sector. Victoria and New South Wales are prioritizing infrastructure sector as their target sector. So urban and regional planner are is part of the infrastructure sector. Next question is from Umar Sadek, and this is about that. What are the chances of a software? I think it's already answered, and that the chances of software tester with 80 points. So I have given you my opinion that the good chances for software tester for 491 subclass are at 95 points. So let's move forward to the next question, which is from Gulam Mustafa. And the question is that I am industrial engineer and I am in South Australia working as farm manager. It's free range it's free range egg production farm working 24 hours a week. Can I apply in South Australia based on this job once I get the full working rights? Um, you can apply in South Australia, but as per my understanding, I'm not sure that this work experience is related to your nominated occupation. But you need to go to the website of South Australia and you need to see whether your occupation is eligible for its skilled as per its skilled occupation list. And if your occupation is eligible as per the skilled occupation list of South Australia, then you should definitely submit the expression of interest after you have gained some local work experience with respect to your nominated occupation. So if your production your farm production related experience is relevant to your industrial engineering, and you can secure the employment documents which are sometimes different for onshore applicants. So you need to see that whether you fulfill the requirement or not, and then you should definitely go for the expression of interest for South Australia. Obviously you have to fulfill the employment full-time employment documentation requirement. You cannot apply on the basis of your part-time employment. You need to check this for your occupation on the South Australia's website. So let's go to the next question, which is from Muhammad Shafiq. So the question is that what is the expected demand of secondary school teacher in upcoming years? Do you think the allocation quota will be increased? Secondary school teacher has already got a very high demand, and we are witnessing that almost all the invitation rounds of specifically Victor, if we talk about Victoria, if we talk about New South Wales, and if we talk about other states as well, we always see at least a set of school teachers who receive an invite. And it, the s- and from the school teachers, the early childhood education teacher or a secondary school teacher, these are the highest priority ones. So already the expected amount of secondary school teacher is high, and it will keep on having the same demand in coming years as well. And regarding the allocations quota increase, I have already answered this question that the allocations increase in allocations quota, the expectation is low for this financial year, but obviously we will see in the next financial year that how they are going to react in a way that whether they are going to increase the allocations quota or whether they are going to maintain the same levels. But for current financial year, the allocations quota are not going to be increased. This is my opinion. So let's talk about the next question, which is from Nadishan De Silva. The question is, what do you think about possibilities of ICT support engineer with 75 points for 190 and 85 points for 491, planning to get extra 10 points from completing superior English in PTE and 5 from NATI. So, ICT support engineer is a part of ICT industry, but I understand that ICT is a good target sector by some of the states, but within the list of ICT occupations, ICT support engineer has a medium level priority. So you definitely need to increase those 15 points which you are planning to do to reach up to 90 points for 190 and so on for 491 for a better chance. Currently, I believe that the chances are not much with 75 points for 190. The chances are fair for 85 points, but I think you should definitely try to aim to get those 15 points to for a better prospect. So let's take up the next question, and this is from Runil Pandey. Runil Pandey is asking, I have put EOI for 190 at 85 points for NSW and Victoria and 491 at 18, at 95 points for South Australia and Western Australia. Occupation is welfare worker. The EOI database shows less than 20 in my points. The less than 20 in EOI skill select dashboard means that it can vary from either 1 to 19. So that's how it's rounded off to less than 20. So there are some EOIs at your points, but obviously when we talk about a welfare worker, it's a very good occupation to have, and you already have submitted EOIs for NSW Victoria, South Australia, and Western Australia, and I believe that you have got good chances at 85, even at 85 points for 190 for NSW and Victoria. It's all about their their plan for the next rounds, but you would definitely be getting the invitation from either of these EOIs in in the second half of the financial year, because your occupation is, you can say that it's not actually the highest priority like the education and the healthcare sector, but it has good priority from medium to high level. So good luck for that. So let's take the next question, which is from Lankika Meransinghe. Lankika Meransinghe is asking, what is the possibility of expecting a change in point system for the next financial year, 24-25? If yes, then in what areas? How will it affect offshore applicants? Any increase in next year quota? So now, this is a very important question, that what are the changes expected with respect to the migration system points test advice? So when we already have posted a video about this on our YouTube channel, that what are the possible expected changes with respect to the point system, and we have illustrated it. And if you guys haven't watched that video, you can watch that as well. That's available in our YouTube library. But let's talk about it. It's an important question, and it's a good information for everyone, that the current point system has a few things where they are preferring onshore applicants' experiences as compared to offshore applicants. I believe that the current point system for the offshore applicants will not be changed much in the next migration system points test overhaul, but there are chances that the occupation lists can have different point structure. So they are going to prioritize obviously the highest priority occupations, and they want to distribute the weightage of those occupations with respect to the other non-priority occupations. So when we are talking about distribution of weightage for a one occupational group with respect to another occupational group, so if you are a, for example, if you are a registered nurse, or if you are a early childhood educational teacher, or if you are a medical practitioner, or any other healthcare professional, then you might be getting more points of choosing that occupation after obviously going through the skills assessment process, as compared to someone who is from a non-priority occupational group. The non-priority occupational group can give you a different level of points with respect to a priority occupation group. So this is one change, and the other change is that they might be abolishing the study in regional area points, and obviously they have mentioned about it in the new migration strategy. Also, they are thinking to abolish the NATI 5 points. It's not really confirmed yet, because NATI is like a proper investment for applicants as well as their own systems, and it's not useful for other countries. So currently, NATI is only being used in Australia and Pacific regions. So I am not sure that they are going to abolish it like in overnight. It's going to be a announcement, and then there would be some cut-off date after which the NATI test can be abolished. But these are the possible changes with respect to points test system, and I believe that the offshore applicants do not need to worry. Currently, they are clearing the backlog of onshore temporary visa holders, but ultimately the offshore applicants will almost have the same chances with respect to the points test when we talk about the skilled migration visas. So you shouldn't be worried until and unless there is something legal or law has been implemented with respect to the new points test system. Allocations quota will remain the same for the current financial year, but when we talk about the next year, there are chances of increase in allocations quota for states. I am not talking about the overall program planning, but overall planning, even if overall migration program planning is levels are same, the state's allocations might increase, but it all depends upon the performance in the next half of the financial year, because currently they are in on their way of making major changes with respect to some of the visa subclasses. So that's the answer to your question. So let's move forward to the next one, which is from Hassan Amir. Hassan Amir is asking, if one field is in a specific group is invited, what is the possibility of other occupation in same group in upcoming routes? So it's Hassan. So basically, let's take an example of ICT. So if out of ICT group, if one field like ICT business analysts are being invited, or software engineers are being invited, or developer programmers are being invited, obviously there are chances of other occupations invitation as well. But within the field, within the group, each field has its own priority as well. So every field, the top occupations of every field are being invited in recent invitation rounds at lower points, whereas the bottom the bottom occupations or the low priority occupations within the same group are being invited at higher points. It works in the same way that there is a list of occupations under each group, and the list is sorted in the demand demand levels. So that's how you need to understand that how the fields are sorted or being invited within the groups. So this is the answer to your question. So let's take up the next one, which is from Runil Pandey. So Runil Pandey is asking about that, if I don't get invited, what will be my chance to move to Australia? And most employers don't give 482 or work offer in my occupation. So, Runil, you obviously an offshore, being an offshore applicant, or I am not sure that on what where you are, either you are onshore or offshore. So let's take up the example of an offshore applicant. If you are not invited through a skilled independent visa, then obviously you have a chance through an employer sponsored stream. There is no third way. You can either go to Australia and try to find an employer. You can try to find an employer through online channels, or by securing a job. You need an employer sponsorship. Without employer sponsorship or state or territory nomination, without self nomination, or without an eligible relative nomination, there is no further chances. You need at least one sponsorship from either of these possible routes for to apply for a visa, which can ultimately be converted into a PR. So you need to see that either you need to improve your points for a skilled independent or a skilled migration visa, or you have to work on finding a job and securing a employer nomination scheme. So let's move forward to the next one. So the next question is from Kuratulan Hassan. Kuratulan Hassan is asking, from which state the chances of nomination are more likely for telecommunication network engineers, and what are the points on which invitation should be expected for this field? Kuratulan, so the telecommunication network engineer is a good occupation. It had been a good occupation in previous financial year, but for this financial year, I haven't seen much invitations for this one. I have seen invitation for telecommunication engineers, but not the telecommunication network engineers. So currently, the good points for the good points for this occupation chances, I would say that you need to have at least 90 points. 85 or 90 points can be good for subclass 190, including state points for this occupation. So that's the answer to your question. So let's move forward to Asad Ahmed's question. Asad Ahmed is asking, I am 40 years and have CPA qualification, and MBA 18 years with experience of finance manager. What are the chances? Asad, I think you need to calculate your points through our points calculator. You can watch our beginner's guide video, which has clear indication and which has a clear instructions that how the points are calculated. So you can watch that video to first calculate your points, and I suggest that you can post your query in our group, and we will be guiding you. For a finance manager, when we talk about a finance manager, in general, good chances of invite start from 90 or 95 points, because it's a highly competitive occupation. As I mentioned earlier about an accountants, so finance managers are also a high competitive occupation. So you need to have at least 90 or 95 points for subclass 190, or when we talk about 491, then you need to have at least 100 points of in expression of interest for a possible chances of invite. And I am talking about the offshore applicants. If you are an onshore applicant, then the chances get a slightly better for accountants and management accountants and finance managers. So you need to first calculate your points and share your points breakdown with us for a better guidance. So let's take up the next question. The next question is from Mahesh. And Mahesh is asking, is there any chance for chemical engineer applied EOIs in July 2023? So Mahesh, we have seen chemical engineers invitations in last Victoria round, which held a few days ago. And if you have seen our post, then you must have seen the points at which those chemical engineers were invited. I think obviously it's a highly competitive occupation, a low demand occupation. So the good chances of chemical engineers start at 95 or more points for subclass 491. I'm not sure that how much points you have got, but if you have got more than 85 or 90 points, then you have then you have good chances. But obviously it's going to take some time because it's a low priority occupation, and they are inviting applicants after clearing the backlog. So you need to have at least 85 points. That's what I can say for subclass 4, for subclass 190, for a possible chance of chemical engineering occupations invite. So let's take up the next question. The next question is from Rashida Tahir. Rashida Tahir is asking, can a retail pharmacist select 494 visa directly, or do they need 407 before? So, Rashida, the 494 visa is a skilled employer sponsored regional visa. Now, skilled employer-sponsored regional visa is not possible to take up by an applicant directly. It requires an employer sponsorship. That's one of its eligibility criteria. So you need to go for a 407 first, and then you need to talk to your employer for a possible sponsorship for this visa subclass. If you think that you have a good working understanding and the relationship with your employer, then your employer can nominate you for a 494 visa, and that this employer should be situated in a regional area of Australia, because this is a skilled employer sponsored regional provisional visa we are talking about. So you need to go for 407 first. So let's talk about the next question. The next question is from Malik Asif Sahir. The question is that I have done my graduation in Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, and I want to pursue my master for the sake of PR in Australia. Best for me, or should I change another country? So Asif, you already have a graduation as in a healthcare field of vet, and I believe that you can definitely go for a master's degree in Australia, and post masters you will have a good prospect. Now, this is a healthcare profession, but obviously this is related to a veterinary medicine. You can see any specialization of masters, and definitely I would suggest you that you should go for a masters by research if possible for you, and that will be prioritized. Okay, currently the higher education stream of student visa are being prioritized for the ones which are opting for masters by research in comparison to masters by coursework. So if you think that there is some degree which is related to your field of study, your previous career, then you can find a specialization of masters and go for it to Australia, because Australia is really has demand of healthcare professionals, either with respect to the vet or with respect to the humans. So I think that you can pursue your masters in Australia for the sake of PR, and you can also compare it with the possible options in other Western countries. So let's move to the next question. And next question is from Mashrul Haq. The question is that, could you please explain about the EOI submission process, in which state accept separate EOI for each subclass, and which state don't accept multiple EOI for getting invitation, which state needs ROI? So, so we have already recorded and shared a video on how to submit an EOI, and also we have recorded and shared 4 videos in our YouTube library, that how to submit separate nomination applications or how to submit additional state applications prior to receiving a pre-invite. So you have to submit expression of interest, and you have to submit an additional application to state, which is either ROI or either Canberra metrics or either a nomination application or either a ROI in the case of South Australia as well. We have recorded and shared these videos. I would suggest you to watch those 5 videos to understand the EOI and ROI submission process for your case. When we talk about the states limitations, so in Victoria, you can submit one ROI for one subclass only. For NSW, for Western Australia, you can submit separate EOIs for both subclasses. When we talk about Queensland and South Australia, they also don't encourage to have multiple expressions of interest. You can submit only one ROI in case of South Australia for one subclass, and similarly, you can submit one single EOI for both subclasses for Queensland. When we talk about ACT, they allow separate subclasses can parametrics at a time. When we talk about Tasmania, when we talk about Northern Territory, so you can submit only one subclass because they typically open for one subclass for offshore applicants. So and that is most commonly they that is 491. So that's how it works. But I would definitely suggest you to watch our videos about how to submit expression of interest and how to submit ROIs for different states in our YouTube library. So let's move to the next question. Next question is that 490 for it's from Nadishan De Silva. The question is that for 491 and 190, should I submit separate EOI or for both from one EOI? I think I have answered the question in the previous statement that for it varies from state to state. For Western Australia, for New South Wales, for ACT, you can submit expression of interest separate for each subclass. Whereas for Victoria, for Queensland, and for South Australia, you need to submit a single EOI, and you can include both subclasses in that. And this is I'm talking about the state and territory nominated subclasses. When we are talking about 189, you can obviously submit a separate EOI for 189 as well. So let's move forward to the next question. The next question is from Pegame Khuda. And the question is that can we get an invite without experience for pharmacists with superior English? How much individual marks are preferable? Okay, I'm not sure which pharmacist are you, but if you are a retail or hospital pharmacist, obviously I believe that you have gone through the skills assessment from through your CAPS exam. And if you are an industrial pharmacist, I believe that you have got it done from wet assess based on your documentation. So without experience, it's to be honest, as per the recent invitation rounds of states specifically when we talk about Victoria or New South Wales, which are the biggest allocations states, I believe that the pharmacists with no work experience have will struggle because there are a lot of other applicants who have enough experience and who are waiting for an invite, who are related to either retail or hospital or industrial pharmacists with superior English. So you have got a tough competition. So I believe that you either you have a very good points, which are like 85 or 90 points for your expression of interest when we talk about 190, then you have a chance. But you should definitely be looking for a job in your nominated occupation, and you should definitely be currently working in your nominated occupation and grab some work experience at least for at least 3 years, so that you can have at least 5 points to show in your expression of interest for a possible chance for pharmacist occupation. So that's what my opinion is. So let's move forward to the next one. The next one is from Bia Burns is asking chances for ICT BA. BA means business analyst. 75 points NSW and Western Australia for 190,491. ICT business analyst with 75 points for now New South Wales, a bit low. Try to improve your points by 10 if you can through superior English or NATI. I believe that ICT business analyst is a very good occupation when we talk about the ICT sector, but there is a competition. You can see that competition from EOI skills like dashboard for your occupation if you know how to extract the data. But ICT business analyst is a very good occupation, and if you can increase your points by 10 and you reach up to 85, including state points for NSW, and similarly, if you reach up to 95 points for Western Australia 491, you have a good chance. I believe you are onshore in New South Wales. That's why you have already submitted one more EOI you have selected one more state, but good chances for NSW 75 points. But if you are not very selective about it, you can also submit a 491 EOI for New South Wales if you are an onshore applicant, and if you are living and working in a regional area, it will still be a very good chance for you. So let's take up the next question. Is from Ashraf Ali. Ashraf Ali is asking, please elaborate a bit about the assets requirement of QLD and other states for offshore applicants. So uh, Queensland has clearly mentioned the funds declaration or settlement funds declaration requirement on its website, and it's, I believe, there is a table on their website for offshore applicants. Separately, you need to follow the figures mentioned on that. There are two sections of the settlement funds. One is the bank statement or bank balance, and the other one is the asset. So you need to fulfill the bank balance requirement as per the number of applicants, and you also need to show the evidence of the assets which you have. It can be your property, a real estate asset, it can be jewelry, it can be your vehicle. So you need to show the proper documentation, a certified documentation for each of the assets. Uh, it can be like invoices or receipts, or it can be asset declaration certificates, which some valuers typically can issue to you. So there is requirement for each of the states for settlement funds declaration, but Queensland has mentioned clearly on its website that how much amount to be shown in the bank and how much amount of assets to be shown through documentation. And similarly, New Northern Territory also asks for settlement funds declaration. ACT asks for just for the settlement fund declaration signature of the form filling, and you do not need to provide any initial documentation or the evidence. So this is how settlement funds declaration or asset requirement is shown for Queensland. The next question, we will move to the next question. The next question is from Chico. Chico is asking, if we have skills assessment for two ENSCO cohorts, can we apply separate EOIs for both occupations? Will it impact negatively on then acceptance? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, that you can submit multiple EOIs for a few of the states. For example, you can submit multiple EOIs for New South Wales. If you have two ENSCO cohorts, positive skills assessment, you can submit separate EOIs for each of the positive skilled assessed occupation for NSW. Similarly, you can submit the same similar way for Western Australia. But when we talk about Victoria, when we talk about Queensland, when we talk about South Australia, they don't allow multiple EOIs. So you have to select one occupation for those specific states, which one are more suitable as per their demand, as per their skilled occupation list. When we talk about Canberra metrics, you can submit multiple EOIs again for your separate end scores. And similarly, I have already mentioned that and new NT and Tasmania is also giving limited excess of expression of interest to offshore applicants. So you need to select your best possible occupation and then submit EOIs of that best possible occupation for specific states. When we talk about Victoria, Queensland, and South Australia for NSW, and for Western Australia and for ACT, you can submit separate EOIs for each of the occupations. So let's move forward to the next one. The next question is from Sundar Sarfaraz. Sundar Sarfaraz is asking, what are the chances of invite for 189, 190 visa for embryologist at 75 points? Is this occupation in demand in Australia? Well, it's. I think it's not a direct occupation when we talk about embryologist. I think there is an occupation called life scientist, and life scientist has possible chance of invite at 85 or more points, in my opinion, because it's not a very high demand, a very high priority occupation when we analyze it with respect to the recent invitation rounds. So for you, you need to have at least 85 points for 189 or 90 points for 190 for a possible chance for your occupation, because it comes under the life sciences. So this is the answer to your question. So let's move forward to the next one. It is from Hamza Jat. Hamza Jat is asking, why I am sitting at 65 for 190, 75 for 491 in NSW, and my occupation is enrolled nurse. What should I do? I have done job as EN in Gosford, which is regional. I don't want to move interstate actually. Okay. So Hamza, you need to improve your points. And I believe enrolled nurse is a very good occupation, obviously, but it has received invitations at 75 points for 190 as well in recent invitation rounds. But currently, they are more prioritizing more towards the registered nurse as compared to enrolled nurse. So try to improve your points by 10 if you can. Then you have got a good chance. You do not need to move to another state if you already have a job as in your nominated occupation, and while you are living in a regional area, there are good chances of 491 for your NSW state, but you need to improve your points by 10. That's my opinion. Next question is from Verinder Singh, and the question is that I have 80 points for 189, 85 points for 190, 95 points for 491 in university lecturer. Your suggestion gave me a hope to get invite soon. Good luck, Verinder. I think you got a good chance at 95 points for 491 and 85 points for 190. I'm not sure about 80 points for 189, but good luck for your for receiving an invite. So let's move forward to the next one. It's the question is from Farid Khan. It is that I am a civil engineer from Pakistan, but having experience of remote sensing in Oman. I am having 80 points for 491. What should be my strategy? Okay, so your strategy should be very simple, that you need to increase your points. 80 points for a civil engineer for an offshore applicant for applying for a subclass 491 are not enough. There is a lot of competition for civil engineers. This is a highly competitive occupation. If you go to the skill select EOI dashboard and you try to see the current EOIs count for civil engineers, you will see that there are like thousands of EOIs currently waiting for an invite at even 85 or 90 or 95 points. You really need to improve your points from 80. At least you need to reach at 90 or 95 for a possible occupation, possible invite. It doesn't matter if you are working in a specific field, as you mentioned that you are working having experience of remote sensing, because for them you are an offshore applicant and you will be compared with respect to others who have higher points. So you should try to aim 90 or 95 points for subclass 491 for your occupation for any better chance as offshore applicant of civil engineer. So let's move forward to the next one, which is from Kuratulan Hassan, asking on behalf of my friend, what are the chances of internal auditor already done with successful skilled and employment assessment? What are the prospects and what states should be targeted? So the question is about the internal auditor. I have already mentioned that either we go about internal or external auditor. These are highly competitive occupations, and we have seen that Western Australia, Victoria, they have invited this occupation, but they have mainly focused towards the onshore applicants who are also sitting at 95 points. So you need to understand that for this occupation, or for an offshore applicant of this occupation to be invited, you need to beat those people who are currently sitting on shore at 90 or 95 points. So the good chances for such case would be at 95 points being an offshore applicant who have got positive skills assessment as internal auditor. So let's move forward to the next one. The question is from Vikas Chauhan. The question is, what if I have a total of 65 without state nomination points for 491 for chemist profession and then apply for UI? So Vikas, a 65 without state nomination points means that you have total of 80 points for 491. And for chemist occupation, I believe that you should definitely work on your English language points. Whether I'm not sure that what are the points breakdown, but if you have 10 points from English language, you should try for 20. Currently, as per recent invitation rounds trend and as per EOI dashboard, skills like dashboard, I think that the possible positive chances for a chemist for a subclass 491 would be at 90, 85 to 90 points. So you should really target to get at least 10 more points, either from English language proficiency or through NATI, or I am not sure that how much work experience you have got, but you should definitely try to get 10 more points for a very good chances for your case. So let's move forward to the next one. The question is from the Valeria. The question is, Dhaval Valeria is asking, "Hi sir, how much fund required for tourist visa?" I believe that it depends upon the number of days of stay, number of months of stay. So you need to calculate the as per the living cost of living standards of Australia. And this is, I think, when you will be applying through an agent, they will guide you. So I would suggest you not to apply a tourist visa yourself, or get help from a professional, so that they advise you the best way of having the right amount of bank balance before the lodgement of application. So let's move forward to the next one. It's from Nadishan D. Silva. The question is for banking sector employee. What may be the possible job category to do the skill assessment if she wants to support from the extra 5 points to submitted EOI of the husband? So if the partner is working in a banking sector, then there are possible occupations could be finance manager or a financial institution branch manager. So if you have got a prior field of study in finance or ACCA or accountancy, and along with there is a banking work experience, then obviously you can go for a skill assessment from VETSS for in the case of financial institution branch manager. And when we talk about the finance manager or accountant occupation, but then you have to go to the chartered accountant skills assessment body of Australia. So there are chances to get this, and obviously you should go for it if you want to get those 5 points from partner. Let's move forward to the next one. This is from Vakar Vlogs. The question is that can we submit two EOIs in one state? For example, in one EOI, I claim 5 points of work experience, and in another, I don't include work experience point. Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to have an EOI with no points of work experience when you already have submitted an EOI with 5 points of work experience? If you're talking about different occupations and one occupation has relevant work experience which is giving you 5 points, and if one occupation is not having relevant work experience, is not able to give you 5 points, then it makes sense. But if you have same profile and you are just thinking to submit two AOIs, one with work experience points and one without work experience points, it doesn't make sense to me. So you need to you need to decide according to that. The next move forward to the next one. This is from Bia Burns. The question is asking for a friend for ICT business analyst. Do they prioritize onshore or offshore? Have chances as well. For ICT business analyst, they prioritize onshore and offshore both, because ICT business analyst is a very good ICT based occupation. And if you have 85 or more points, even if you are offshore, you will have a good chance of invite. So let's move forward to the next one from Vakar. Vakar is asking when NSW 491 is expected again, because I have 85 points as business analyst but didn't get luck of invitation, while one other guy has got 491. Well, Vakar, for NSW, you need to understand that NSW works in a very strange way. Sometimes they invite applicants who have five lower points as compared to someone who is still waiting for up at higher points, only based on the factors such as work experience or English language proficiency points or EOI submission date. So if you have 85 points as a business analyst for 491 for NSW, I believe that you have good chance. But you if you can try to get extra 10 points for your occupation, you should definitely go for it. Next NSW 491 round is expected after Christmas break. I believe there would be another round at the end of January. I think there wouldn't be any other round before Christmas break, and today is the last day anyway. So good luck for your next round, and just try it and just aim to get 10 extra points for your 491 expression of interest if you can, for better chances. So let's move forward to the next one. The next one is from Rashida Tahir. Rashida Tahir is asking, I have 70 individual points for retail pharmacist. Can I expect 70 plus 15 for 491? 85 points for 491 as retail pharmacists are not much. Rashida, you need to work on your points. If you reach up to 95 points, I would say that you have got a great chance. But with 85 points for surplus 491 for a retail pharmacist occupation, which is like in a medium to low level demand, and there are a lot of applicants who are waiting at higher points than you, then obviously you need to work on your on improving your points if you can. So this is my opinion for you. Next one is from Aaron. Aaron is asking for accountant. points, 90 for 189, 95 for 190, and 105 for 491. Is there still hope? Obviously, you have got great points. I believe you have got good chance for 105 points for 491 from Western Australia, from New South Wales, for Victoria. You have got good chance. Whereas if we talk about 189, you need to wait for the next round where they will be considering the occupations other than healthcare and teaching and social services. So if they will be having an invitation round for 189, which will include other occupations such as accountancy occupations, you definitely got a good chance for 189 as well for an accountant occupation at 90 points. So good luck for that. So let's move forward to the next one. This is from Manish Mehra, and the question is that, hello sir, am I eligible for engineering manager occupation? If I go for IML skill assessment, I have 3 years experience as a mechanical engineer, BE in mechanical. So if you are a bachelor's in, if you are a bachelor, if you have bachelor's in mechanical engineering and you have 3 years of experience in mechanical engineering, then why would you want to go for an engineering manager occupation? I believe that you are considering engineering manager occupation only because to have lesser competition. So for engineering manager occupation, you need to study the requirements of Engineers Australia, because Engineers Australia will give you engineering manager occupation skill assessment based on your CDR. Now, this you need to understand that if you go for a mechanical engineering occupation, I'm not sure that whether your degree is accredited by any of the accords of Engineers Australia or not. But in the case of engineering manager, you can either go for Engineers Australia CDR pathway, or you can also go for IML based assessment. But I believe that if you have got engineering manager's work experience, then you should definitely go for engineering manager occupation through IML or EA. That's your choice based on your work experience. If you don't have a work experience related to an engineering manager occupation, then you should stick to your own nominated occupation, which is mechanical engineer, and which is also a good occupation to have when we talk about the possible chances. So let's take up the next one, which is okay. So you, Manish, you have given your work experience details, which is that you have 2 years of experience as safety manager until date in large business organization at corporate office. So I think as safety manager, it's different from engineering manager. Engineering manager or mechanical engineers are more towards the designing and implementation and all those projects and machinery and manufacturing. So you need to see that as safety manager in a large business organization, you need to check whether your occupations, whether your work experience JDs are aligning to the ones which that specific occupation of engineering manager has or not. If you think that you can manage at least 70% of the JDs of the standard JDs of the engineering manager, then you should go for engineering manager occupation. Else you should simply go for your mechanical engineering skills assessment based on your academic documentation. So let's take up the next one. This is from Narendra Kumar. The question is that how this 233513, so 233513 is production or plant engineer occupation, will get affected with new migration changes offshore applicant. There is no, there is, it's not like there is any specific occupation impact on any specific occupation. Your occupation of production or plant engineer is a good occupation. It relates to mechanical engineers, and it also relates to other engineering occupations. They are almost at the same levels. Obviously your occupation will not be impacted specifically due to any new immigration strategy as an offshore applicant. You do not need to worry about that. You just need to see that whether you can improve your points or not. If you have got good points, and I believe the good points for production plant engineers are 85 plus. So if you have got 85 plus points for your EOI for a production plant engineer as offshore applicant, your chances are good as even after the migration overhaul. So let's take up the next one. The next one is from Johir Masood. So Johir Masood is asking, chef with 65 points for 189, 70 for 190 NSW, 80 for NSW, and WA 491. What are the chance? In July, for experience will get another 5 points. I have for 10 for English and 5 for partner English, and 5 for Nati. Johir, chef is a very good occupation. If we when we talk about Victoria for 491, when we talk about Western Australia for 491, and when we talk about even if we talk about Queensland for 491, for NSW and Western Australia, and yeah, I believe you should also submit one more EOI for Queensland and for Victoria as well. So, if you are onshore, then obviously you have limitation of submitting expression of interest, and then you will only be able to submit expression of interest for New South Wales and Western Australia. But if you are offshore, then obviously you can submit expression of interest for Victoria and Queensland as well. But as per your message, I think that you are onshore in NSW and you have submitted in Western Australia as interested applicant. You need to improve your points, English language points, for a better chance from New South Wales as per their recent invitation trend. With 90 points for NSW and Western Australia 491, you have got good chances. For 65 points for 189, I am not sure about that. For 70 points for 190 NSW, the chances are a bit low. That's my opinion for you. Let's move to the next one. The next one is from Afroz Raza. So Afroz Raza is asking mechanical engineer with 70 points for 189, 75 points for 190. What are the chances? As I can see, no invite for mechanical engineers in recent invites. Yes, mechanical engineers aren't being invited in recent invitation rounds, but I would say that it's not something totally neglected. I have seen invitations of mechanical engineers from Queensland at 85 points in very recent invitation rounds. Similarly, there are good chances of mechanical engineers from NSW and from Victoria when they will be focusing towards the engineering occupations. You need to work on your points. To be honest, 75 points for 190 are a bit low. Try to reach up to 85 points as mechanical engineers, and then you have got a great chance. So let's move to the next one. Vakas is asking, sir, I am unable to understand that. What if I lodge my UI with 65 points in January? How and when will 15 points of 49 be added? Because you need to understand the process. So the process works is in this way that you submit an expression of interest and you select a specific state and you select a specific subclass in that expression of interest, and then you submit your expression of interest, and it gives you total points including state points at the end of the submission. When a state or territory accepts your expression of interest in a way that they issue a pre-invite to you based on that expression of interest, and then it asks you for to claim or to provide the evidence of the claims in your expression of interest. So if you are able to provide or improve the claims made in your expression of interest points, then you get 15 points awarded after the nomination approval. So first stage is to get the pre-invite from a state for a subclass 491. Then you need to prove your points in your EOI. And after approval of points, you get the final invite. And at that point, you get those 15 points awarded to you from the state. And on the basis of those 15 points and other points, you apply for a visa after receiving the final invitation to apply. This is how the process works for adding those 15 points of 491 in your expression of interest. So next question is from Sidra Hashmi. The question is that, sir, what are the chances for retail pharmacist offshore with 80 points for 491 Victoria, NSW, and South Australia? So, as I already mentioned, and I think the previous question was also about the retail pharmacists. So, retail pharmacists have got a great chance only if they have got great points, because currently the retail pharmacists are not being invited that much. They are not being invited frequently. So, you need to have at least 90 points for 491 for these states you have mentioned. Try to aim for extra 10 points on top of your 80 points for 491 for any better chances, because there is a lot of competition with respect to pharmacists when we talk about retail or hospital pharmacists, and similarly for industrial pharmacists. This is not a high demand and high priority occupation. That's why you need to have better points to beat the competition whenever there is a round of NSW Victoria and South Australia. So that's my advice for you. Next question is from Narendra Kumar. Narendra Kumar is asking, I have applied 190 for Victoria and Queensland. Shall I continue with this or opt for 491? So I think it depends upon your points. I'm not sure how many points you have got, but I think okay, you have given your points are 75 for 189. So if you have 75 for 189, you have got 80 points for 190, and you will be having 90 points for 491. For Victoria, I think you shouldn't switch to 491 because they are not prioritizing any engineering occupations in 491. You should keep your ROI for Victoria for 190 at 80 points, whereas for Queensland, you can opt for 491. That's a good approach. Let's move forward to the next one. This is from Sammy Singh. The question is that I am a manufacturer with 85 points for 190 and 95 points for 491. Can I expect invite in this FY or next FY financial year? So, uh, manufacturer. I'm not sure about the occupation, but I think you are talking about a production manager for a manufacturing stream. If you are a production manager of a manufacturer with 85 points for 190, 95 points for 491, I believe that the possible chances in this financial year with these points will be fair, I can say, not high, because this is not a priority occupation, and currently there are many other engineers and many other infrastructure occupations who are waiting. So I think that you can have like medium level hope in this financial year, but obviously you got good points for surplus 491, which are 95. So good luck for that. So let's take up the next one. This is from Vakas Chauhan. So Vakas Chauhan is asking, uh, the next question is about the I have 5 years and 5 months of experience right now. What if I lodge EOI in January and my experience gets increased from 5.5 to 6 years in August? What will my marks of experience will increase? So if you will lodge your expression of interest in January, your experience will get increased from 5.5 to 6 years in August. There will not be any change. The next change will be after 8 years. So if you have 3 to 5 years, you get 5 points. If you have 5 to 8 years, you get 10 points. And if you have 8 plus years, then you get 15 points. So this is how the expression of interest points test system works. Stay tuned to this live stream, because at the end of the stream, for last 10 minutes, I will be giving you a good information about the changes which are going to happen with respect to the new migration strategy, specifically for international students, for graduate visas, and for points test system. So stay tuned till the end of the session. So let's take up the next question. Um, the next question is from Twins Chemistry. So the question is, I worked for 2 years as a chemist in a reputable medicine company based in Lahore. Problem is, I did in cash on cash because I was working as a government employee as well. Can I get positive assessment? Now it all depends upon the documentation you have. If you have got the documentation with respect to your employment, other than bank statement, for example, you can have pay slips as payment evidence, you can have tax return documentation, or you have tax deduction certificates, or you can have provident fund documentation, or you might have end of service EOBI statement. If you have other documentation to support your employment evidence, payment evidence claim, then it might be possible that you can have a positive skill assessment based on an employment where you were getting uh, pay in cash. But obviously, in that case, you will need to get it mentioned on your statement of service or reference letter as well, that you were being paid in cash in this employment. So this is how you can get a positive skills assessment for a chemist occupation, which is, I think, which is assessed by vet assess. So for vet assess, they need at least two payment evidences. One, you should have pay slips, and the other one from the list which I have mentioned to you. So the next one, let's move to the next question. The next question is from Kuratulan Hassan. So the question is about the for MBA finance, having rich experience in corporate sector in commercial and logistics department, what should be the assessing body for this occupation? So with MBA finance, if you have commercial and logistics department, I'm not sure what is your job title over there. If you can mention your job title, I would suggest that you can you can post this query in our group. with exact specific particulars about your occupation and your work experience. If your experience is about the finance, then obviously you can choose a finance manager occupation. If your experience is more about a supply chain and logistics side, then you will need to choose a supply chain and logistics manager occupation. This supply chain and logistics manager occupation is assessed by Institute of Managers and Leaders (IML), whereas the finance manager occupation is assessed by Chartered Accountant Association of Australia, CAANZ or IPA or CPA. So this is how you can evaluate the possibility of skills assessment for your occupation based on the work profile or job title or JDs you have in your current organization. So let's move to the next one. This question is about the twins chemistry again, and the question is that much appreciate your social work. I have seen you responding to everyone on Facebook group. Great work. Okay, this is not a question. This is an appreciation. So thank you very much, and keep supporting us so that we can keep giving you useful information and responses on our channels. The next one, you are asking Kuratulan about that how MBA finance spouse could contribute in points with ACCA main applicant. Okay, so the case is your case is like the main applicant has ACCA, so the ACCA will be going towards a finance manager or accountant or internal or external auditor side from a CAA and Z skills assessing body. The partner is MBA finance, and I believe you also mentioned that the partner is working in corporate sector in commercial and logistics department. So in that case, I believe for you just need to have a positive skills assessment based on the work experience. Even if with MBA finance, the experience of supply chain and logistics can work from skills assessment body of IML. Go to IML website, try, and you will see an occupation by the name of supply and logistics manager, supply chain and logistics manager, or supply and logistics manager, and you will need to read the JDs, and if the JDs are matching with your partner's work experience profile, then you are good to go for the partner's positive skill assessment to gain those 5 points. Those are very important points to get. Narendra Kumar is again, it's an appreciation from your side. Thank you very much for that, and keep supporting us. And we believe that with the support only we can keep on continuing the momentum. Thank you for your appreciation, Narendra. So let's move to the semi sing. So the occupation you have mentioned now is the manufacturer occupation, sir, which is 2133411. So when we talk about 133411, this is a manufacturer occupation. Okay, so you're talking about simple manufacturer occupation, not the production manager manufacturing. Okay, so manufacturer is, I think my answer is same. Your points are 85 for 190 Queensland, Victoria, and NSW, and for 491 you have submitted for Queensland and NSW offshore. I run my own manufacturing plant. Okay, so you are a self-employed case. If in case of self-employment, you also can get a positive skills assessment. That's not a big deal, but this is not a high priority occupation. This occupation is not in high demand. This is, you need to understand, this is a good occupation to have, but obviously because of the low demand, the chances of invite would be very, uh, I can say that at medium level, for 85 points for 190 and for 95 points for 491. So try to improve your points if you can, through better English level or through NATI test if you can, and just submit your UIs and pray and hope for the best. So let's move to the next one, which is from Semi Singh. What other options I have for PR besides skilled migration? Can you guide me any startup or business pathway? Semi, I think this is a follow-up question from your previous question where you have mentioned about your occupation of manufacturer. So you have mentioned that for manufacturer, you got a good work experience of having a setup of manufacturing. So other than PR, besides skilled migration, you got a possibility of setting up a business over there. But obviously, you have to go there on. You can first go there on a visitor visa to understand the dynamics of business and economy and the way of doing business over there. First, you go to visitor visa to understand the ground realities. Then you should try to find a proper a possible partnership or a possible employer nomination or a possible business visa. Now currently Australia is not much encouraging the business and innovation visa, and they are going to have a change about their existing business innovation and investment stream. They are coming up with a new innovation based visa. So if your manufacturing domain is working towards and have a skill set of innovation based products or manufacturing, then you get a good chance. And just wait for the announcement of the new visa from Australia Department of Home Affairs, where they will be announcing about a new kind of innovation and business visa, which can be a possible route for you to go there and work based on your own self-employment. This is an interesting case for you, and good luck for that. So let's take up the next one. This is from Muhammad Mustafa Mumtaz, and our question is that is 482 is getting replaced, will company will still be able to sponsor? Uh, the law is not yet there about the 482. Yes, they have mentioned in their new migration policy that they are going to replace the existing temporary skill shortage visa, TSS 482, to a new skills in demand visa, which will have three different pathways. The employer nomination will still be required as it was being required in 482. They are actually they what they are going to do is they are trying to improvise the existing 482 visa in a way that an employee can easily switch jobs or employer, while it was being difficult when an employee was working based on a 482 visa. So the new visa will be introduced by the end of 2024, where an employee will be able to easily switch between two employers, and it will not and that way the employer will not be able to exploit the employment of that specific applicant. So this is an improvement area where they are working, and they are going to switch from 482 to a new skills in demand visa, which will have three pathways. The number one will be a specialist skills pathway, the number two will be a core skills pathway, and the third one will be essential skills pathway based on their wages. So this we have already covered in our existing video, which you can watch in our YouTube library. So let's move to the next one. The next one is about from Twins Chemistry again. The question is that, okay, if I have to mention that I received salary on cash in reference letter, then should I mention the reason why I got salary in cash? Like, should I tell that I had government job too, so I could not take salary? There is no need to mention the reason of getting paid in cash. Just get it mentioned on your reference letter that you were being paid in cash, and then attach the pay slips and other possible payment evidences you have as per the instructions, as per the given guidelines. So just to mention that you were being paid in cash, so that they do not ask you for the bank statement. And if they ask you for the bank statement, then you should have this again, you should have this document as an evidence that you were being paid in cash as mentioned on the reference letter. You can mention this, that you were being paid in cash because it's a government job, but it's an optional choice. It's your own choice. So let's move to the next one. It's from Andy Allen. The question is that after lodging the visa, does the status change for all applicants? Asking because seen many who got grants wrote that from submitted to finalized, but in my case, the same change from submitted to initial assessment. Then after submitting PCC, it now shows further assessment. Does that mean they already started to process my application? And it is only a month since 119 was. Andy, yes, there are four stages, main milestones of visa lodgement process. The number one is submitted, the number two is initial assessment, number three is further assessment, and number four is finalized. Or you can say in which in that case so people are getting granted or refused. So in some cases people get submitted to finalize directly. In some cases people get a commencement email, so this is like an indication of start of the process of the visa. In your case, you got initial assessment, and now you are at the final further assessment case. And if they will, now they are in the process of analyzing the documentation which you have submitted. And in case they will be seeing any more questions, if they will have any more questions, they will send you another S56 or S57 to ask about your details as part of the further assessment. But now your application is being processed, and it can take like 3 or 4 months based on your occupation's priority. So let's move to the next one. The question is from Memuna. The question is that, hi, I got grant for 476 and applied for spouse. Now, after today's news, what will be the chances for so use visa? Many are still hopeful that it's for primary applicant, and quota defined was also for primary. Memuna, yes, that could be true, that the quota allocations quota they have given for 476 as per recent news And as per today's news, they have mentioned that after today, there will not be any more applicants entertained for 476 visa, and everyone who will be everyone who has been refused or the visa application has been stalled, they will be refunded. Now, the allocations quota for 476 visa is mainly for primary applicant. That's understandable. So, there are fair chances, in my opinion, that the secondary applicant will be getting the visa even after today's date of validity. So, good luck for that. Just apply for the visa, and you will get to know positive news soon. So let's move forward to the next one. The question is that so twins chemistry. So it's your follow up question. I think you are asking that if I have to mention that I received cash and oh, okay. So you already have been answered about your pay in cash for reference letter question. So let's move forward to the next one. Is from C. The question is that I have known ICT degree and ACS is positive for program developer and they have deducted for 6 years of experience. Can I claim points for education as option 2 or option 4 in the point calculator? Option 2 or option 4 in the point calculator. Education, in the case of education. Okay. Your degree is non ICT, but if you have you just need to see that in the ACS skills assessment outcome, what AQF level has have they approved for your case. Even if it is a non ICT degree, but they have approved your skills assessment and made your degree equivalent to a bachelor degree, then you should select a bachelor degree in the degrees drop down menu of education page of EOI. So this is how it works. You need to see that what AQF level have they selected for your skills assessment, irrespective of the case that whether the degree is relevant to your nominated occupation or not. So let's move to the next one. The next question is from Ziaullah. Ziaullah is asking, I am a mechanical mechatronics engineer on a 476 visa with no relevant experience. Where should I relocate or shift to? Australia. Thanks in advance. So for a mechatronics engineer, I believe the states which are working on advanced manufacturing or which are working on innovations or robotics, you should choose such states. I would suggest you to go for South Australia. They are really working on new technologies and innovations and research sectors. Similarly, regional areas are also working towards sustainability and net zero economy based initiatives. So you can select and you have to do some research and ask from your network that which state is good for you in case of mechanical mechatronics engineer. So my suggestion for you would be South Australia, New South Wales and Victoria, because these states are doing some work with respect to either infrastructure sector or manufacturing or innovation and new researches. So that's my opinion for you. Let's move to the next one. This is from Sam Tech. So the question is, please share some opinion on guys with no work experience, currently offshore and have 476 visa, will travel soon in 4 months. In engineering professionals, NEC 90 points for 491. No work experience is a struggle these days. I would suggest everyone who is offshore right now to find a job in your nominated occupation. Get yourself employed. Try to be currently employed in your nominated occupation, because as per recent invitation rounds of, even when we talk about New South Wales or Victoria or even the other states, they are prioritizing applicants who are currently employed in the nominated occupation or have recent relevant work experience. This is very important. If you have good points, your points are 90 points for 491, which are good points. But if you do not have relevant work experience and if you are not currently working in your nominated occupation, this can be a possible drawback for your profile. Work on your profile for a better chance, because currently Australian migration is very competitive. You have to beat the competition in order to be selected. So this is my opinion. So let's move to the next one. I will be taking only like 3 or 4 more questions, because I have to tell you guys an important point with respect to the new migration strategy, which is going to happen from January onward with respect to all the subclasses they are talking about. So this is from Sachveer. The question is it mandatory to submit Form 80 and Form 1221? See, it's not mandatory. Form 80 and Form 1221 are not mandatory. But what happens is that when a case officer or the visa officer asks for a Form 80 at a later stage, then it adds at least 1 month, 1 or 2 months in your total visa processing time. So it's always better to submit Form 80 and Form 1221 in advance along with your visa application. Right after you have lodged your visa, you will get a tab of other documents and you can upload your Form 80 after filling it as an additional document. It doesn't hurt. Next one is from Bakar, and I am asking to submit two EOIs with work experience 5 points and not because I got positive skilled assessment, but salary was in cash and it would be hard to prove employment at visa stage. Well, if you have positive skilled assessment and if you haven't gone through the relevant skilled employment assessment and you haven't tested the possibility of getting those 5 points through any assessing body, then it's better to avoid submitting expression of interest with those 5 points because you will not be able to prove your 5 points employment claim based on a paid in salary, paid in cash salary, because it's always better to get it assessed in advance from your assessing body for so that you can provide that relevant skill employment assessment outcome to the visa officer at the visa lodgement stage for in such cases. So let's move forward to the next one. Your so Vakar, you are mentioning that your agent didn't mention employment as was on cash. So I think I have covered your point, and I believe that it's the right way. If you haven't got the employment documentation incomplete in full, then it's always better to avoid it because it can create a problem later on for the visa approval. So it's better to be safe. Thank you, Semi, for your appreciation and keep supporting us. The next one is from Muhammad Mustafa Mumtaz. So the question is that employer can still nominate if the skill is not mentioned in the new skill list from Australia Skills and Jobs. I think you are talking about Jobs and Skills Australia. So, if even if the when we talk about the new skills occupation list, the new skills occupation list is only about one of the skills pathway, which is core skills occupation list. But for the other PR pathways of the new skills in demand visa, the occupation lists are going to be the same. The only difference would be about the profile and the work experience and the annual earnings. So employer will still be able to nominate you for a specialist skills pathway or a core skills pathway or an essential skills pathway as part of the new skills in demand visa, but you need to see that whether you are fulfilling the requirement of those PR pathways or not when it will be officially launched. It's not yet officially launched, it's just a policy yet, it's not made legal proceeding or legal determination yet. So employer can still nominate you as far as our understanding is concerned. For right now, as per the Jobs and Skills Australia, they are going to come up with a new core skills occupation list which will include all the core and priority and in demand occupations, and it will be very similar to the one we have for MLTSSL already. So I am taking the last question and then I will be wrapping up based on the important information for you guys, specifically for people who are watching us from offshore and also for onshore, and because we will be covering about the graduate visa holders. So this question is from Keshav Bhusal. Keshav Bhusal is asking, is there any chance to increase the 491 190 visa in the next fiscal year? Okay, so next fiscal year will the stats and the program level, the migration program planning level of the next fiscal year will be announced by the end of this financial year, which we can expect in May and June. So the chances are there that the allocations quota for states might increase a bit, but for the allocations quota for 189 might remain the same. But they are going to mainly curb on the international students and the post-study work visas. They are not going to touch much about the skilled independent and skilled migration programs because they are still going to need these people, but they are going to change the points test system in a way that the skilled migration system can be improved for their own self, for their own needs, and for their economic needs. So this is what I believe, and in my opinion, that there will be an increase of allocations quota for next financial year for 491 and 190. This is a possibility, and we will announce about it as it makes as it becomes a law as per the Department of Home Affairs and their parliament. So let's wind up our today's live session. First of all, I would like to thank you everyone who have attended today's live session and who have been supporting us, who have been providing all those appreciations to our team, to our admin team. So I am very much thankful to you guys for supporting us in this until now, and we are still looking forward for your support with respect to our YouTube channel, our social media networks, and for our Facebook group. We will keep on continuing this momentum of answering all the queries which you guys have until you have received your invites, and we will be helping you in that case. So I will be wrapping up today's live session in a way that the new migration strategy is coming up, and you guys need to understand one thing, that the current Labour government of Australia is the temporary visa holders in their country who have been living in their countries from like 8 or 9 years. They are on a temporary visa and they do not want that. They want their international students to come to the to come to study to Australia in their educational institutions, which are like well reputed and well renowned in the world, and they don't want the educational sector of Australia to be abused. Right now, there are like multiple levels of educational institutions in Australia. When we talk about, they have categorized their educational institutions in like educational level 1, 2, 3, 4, and right now all the students who are applying for educational level 1 institutes will get the visas very soon, but for level 2, level 3, level 4 it will be very difficult. You need to see, you need to check your profiles. There are changes with respect to English language requirements. There are changes with respect to funds declaration for international students applications. There are changes with respect to genuine student test. They are now changing from GTE to GST from January. So all these requirements and all these changes are happening just to make sure that if someone is coming to Australia to study, the student shouldn't be studying just to for the sake of starting work or having access to work in Australia. The student should complete the education in Australia from a reputed organization, not a ghost college. And after completing the education from institute, the student should go to a post-study work visa for like a period of 2 years based on the degree. Obviously, they have mentioned. But after those, and in those 2 years or 3 years of post-study work visa, you need to gain the local work experience as per your study, rather than you. It's not like if you have studied a bachelor of engineering and you are now working in a restaurant. It's not, you have to work in your skill level. There are 5 skill levels: 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. We have seen as per their report that 50% of the students who have studied a higher education from Australia, now they are working in skill level 4 and 5. You need to understand the problem here. So the happy path is that an international student completes its education from an Australian educational institute, which is a year level 1 or 2. After completing the is a master's course, for example, after completing the master's degree, go for post-study work rights, complete your 2 years training and work, gain the work experience and gain those 5 points of onshore local work experience, and then apply for a job to get a proper employer sponsorship or based on a 482 visa, or in future there will be a skills in demand visa. And after going to a job and employer sponsorship, you will have two rights, two possibilities for PR. Either you will be applying for a skilled migration pathway, or you will be applying for a possible employer nomination scheme, which will again give you a PR. Once you are on PR, then obviously there is a route towards citizenship. That's not a big concern. When we talk about the offshore applicants, so the offshore applicants shouldn't be worried about the changes happening, because all the major changes will be about the onshore temporary visa holders, as I explained earlier. Offshore applicants will still have the same system to work on. They need to beat the competition in the offshore as well as for the onshore applicants as well. You need to work on your points. Right now, English language superior level is very essential, very important factor. Your age is also very important, obviously. Your work experience points are the most important. They are looking for skilled migrants. They are looking for people who have work experience in their fields, in their nominated occupations, specialized fields, which Australia wants, which Australia's economy needs. Study about that, what Australia needs, and try to get the experience accordingly. And also, they are going to come up with a new innovation visa, which will be a replacement of a global talent dependent program. You will be awarded with points if you have a specific field, such as if you are working in a cybersecurity field, if you are working in advanced manufacturing or 5G networks, or if you're working in renewable energy, you will be awarded better. You will get a possibility of selection better. So think about these things while you are an offshore applicant and trying to improve your points, either through English language test, either through work experience, or either through other means of NATI. And also think about your partner skills assessment or in partners competent English. These two things might become mandatory in the new world, in the new migration system. You will not be having a chance of getting invitation without a partner's positive skills assessment in future. That might happen. This is evident, and we have witnessed it from Victoria's and NSW recent invitation rounds, that they have given importance to people who have 10 points of partner skills assessment and 20 points from English, and who also have NATI 5 points. So these things are important. They are going to abolish the NATI points, but they are not going to abolish the English language points and partner skills assessment. These two things will remain key for your possible invitations in future. So this is my advice for you guys who are offshore. And for onshore people, you need to find a proper route towards permanent residence, either through an employer sponsorship or skilled independent visas, skilled migration visas. But in future, the temporary visa holders will be discouraged and their stay in Australia will be shortened. So, with that note, I would like to close today's live question and answer session. I hope it has been helpful for you, and we are looking for your support. Kindly, I would suggest you that you can ask your queries in our group if anything is remaining from today's session, and also support us by subscribing to our social media channels and specifically YouTube channel. So, thank you and keep watching.